They told you Bastet was just a cat goddess, gentle, beautiful, harmless. They said she was a symbol of grace, fertility, and domestic joy, a divine protector of the hearth. They turned her into something cute and harmless, a pet for modern spirituality to romanticize. But that's the first deception. Bastet wasn't born from comfort. She was born from blood, from fire, from the wrath of a sun that grew tired of mercy. Before she was the soft-faced goddess the temples painted in gold, she was something else entirely. A creature whose roar made armies kneel and whose eyes glowed with the fury of Ra himself. The ancient priests feared her name long before they adored it. The world remembers her purr but forgets her scream. The scream that split heaven from earth, when mercy turned to vengeance and light devoured everything that dared to hide in shadow. Bastet was never meant to be gentle. She was once Sekhmet, the lioness of slaughter, the executioner of divine will. When humanity rebelled against the order of Ma'at, Ra unleashed her to burn the wicked clean. But the slaughter went too far. Blood flooded the sands until even Ra trembled at what he'd created. To stop her, the gods tricked her with wine dyed red like blood. Drunk on false carnage, Sekhmet collapsed into sleep. And when she awoke, she was no longer the lioness, but the cat. Bastet was born from restraint, not peace. She was the embodiment of destruction tamed, chaos given a mask of serenity. Her temples whispered that she protected Egypt, but they never told the full truth. She protected it through control, through balance forced upon the wild nature within. She was the living reminder that even gods could lose themselves to their own hunger. So Bastet wasn't the goddess of sweetness. She was the goddess of containment. A divine boundary between love and violence, between nurture and the wild thirst for power. The ancient initiates understood. She wasn't domesticated, she was disguised. Every statue of her smiling with golden eyes wasn't an idol of safety. It was a warning. The cat, graceful and unpredictable, reminded them that even the calmest spirit hides claws. Bastet was the restraint that followed devastation, the peace that comes only after surviving chaos. Her presence meant not comfort, but awareness, that the same energy which heals can also destroy depending on who holds it. When foreign religions swept into Egypt, they rewrote Bastet's story. They stripped away her fangs and claws, painted over her fire with silk, and called her a guardian of femininity, sensuality, and music. The priests who once chanted her true names in the dark were silenced. Scrolls that spoke of her twin nature were burned. To control a people, they first had to weaken their gods. And Bastet was too powerful, too wild, too untamed for the conquerors to allow. So they buried her truth beneath purring idols and polished altars, turning her from an embodiment of balance into a symbol of submission. And as centuries passed, humanity forgot that Bastet wasn't only a protector. She was a test, a mirror of self-control that warned, what you refuse to master within yourself will one day master you. Look within. How many times have you silenced your inner fire because the world told you to be soft? How often have you mistaken your power for danger, your intuition for madness, your anger for sin? Bastet's story isn't just divine mythology, it's the human condition. Every soul carries a Sekhmet and a Bastet inside it, one that wants to tear down everything that oppresses it, and another that seeks harmony after the storm. We live pretending to be the calm, polite cat, while deep inside the lion still roars, demanding justice, expression, truth. Bastet doesn't ask you to choose one over the other. She asks you to balance them. Because wisdom isn't found in peace alone, but in knowing when to unleash your chaos and when to restrain it. Her temple was never a sanctuary from violence. It was a training ground for mastery. Mastery of self. In Bubastis, her sacred city, every spring the Nile would gleam with festival lights. Tens of thousands gathered to sing her praises. But hidden beneath the laughter were rituals of awakening. They danced not to worship her beauty, but to call upon the divine duality within themselves. Cats roamed freely through her temples because they embodied the goddess's essence. Graceful yet dangerous, affectionate yet untamed. Priests carried mirrors, for Bastet's power was reflection, forcing each soul to face what lay beneath their masks. The papyri describe her eyes as doors between serenity and destruction. The ancients believed that when you stared long enough into a cat's gaze, Bastet looked back, silently measuring your balance. Even pharaohs bowed before her image, understanding that without restraint their thrones would burn like the cities Sekhmet once devoured. Bastet was not merely a deity, she was Egypt's soul, poised between mercy and rage, teaching that enlightenment requires both the blade and the bomb. Across time, her name has been reborn in countless forms: Freya, Artemis, Durga, each one echoing Bastet's eternal principle. The divine feminine is not fragile. It is ferocious, protective, radiant, and terrifying. Every culture that tried to bury her only scattered her seeds across the stars. And now, in an age of spiritual amnesia, her energy rises again, calling to those who sense that softness alone cannot heal the world. Bastet's legacy whispers, "Do not deny your power because others fear it. Let it teach, let it transform, but never let it consume." Her lesson transcends myth. It is cosmic truth. To resurrect Bastet is to remember that the sacred is both love and fire, and that one cannot exist without the other. But humanity forgets, again and again. We grow complacent in our peace, blind in our comfort, and when the wild spirit rises, we call it dangerous. We banish it, medicate it, fear it, and just as before, balance collapses. The world falls back into chaos because what is repressed will always return. The temples of Bastet crumble not from invasion, but from forgetting. And in forgetting her, we lose a part of ourselves. Yet Bastet never truly left. Her spirit prowls quietly, waiting in the corners of intuition. In every woman who dares to speak truth, in every man who learns to protect without domination. She lives in every soul, reclaiming its balance. Look into the mirror, not for your reflection, but for hers. Bastet's eyes still burn through time, asking one question. Have you mastered your fire, or has it mastered you?